we began, working on the logistics of setting up the hub, and then we started signing up carriers. And Sprint was one of the first carriers to sign up, and we have about 12 of our members signed. U.S. Cellular is signed up, and then it was very nice to see T-Mobile come in. So now we have essentially a platform for all small carriers to find a pathway to 4G, LTE, and VoLTE. The original game plan was let's find a cooperative fashion so that these smaller carriers could actually partner with nationwide carriers, a footprint that they could sell locally and nationally. And as you know, you have to have a national product if you're going to be competitive. T-Mobile has been one of the more prolific pro-roaming partners of many of the small carriers for years. And they had a very good roaming relationship with a lot of our members, especially the GSM members. We're talking about 3G, 2G, and 3G. And, as we moved to 4G LTE, I think they found that, when you start talking about rich communication suite type of capabilities and other, video and over the top and video streaming, then all of a sudden in the 4G world, you really need to have more of a partnering relationship. So the connectivity through a hub makes a lot more sense. So as T-Mobile has rolled out 4G LTE, so have many of the smaller carriers, and that's another thing. You have to have your partner has to essentially be going in the same direction of the technology, the new technology, especially if you're going to enhance your relationships. Give all of our members, including T-Mobile, some more footprint than they may have had earlier, and I think it gives them an opportunity to compete with everyone across the board. The smaller carrier has to have some assurances that they have a pathway to this 4G LTE VoLTE world we're going into, and in order to do the investments necessary to continue to maintain that customer relation and actually give the consumer what they're demanding. So I think this will be good for especially the smaller carriers that have GSM legacy systems. Gives them an opportunity to get to a 4G LTE and have a 3G GSM legacy capability. And then obviously if you're talking about 3G and 4G GSM as your legacy, then you're also talking about the need to have handsets and devices that work on both your legacy network and your new network. And I think T-Mobile just probably came to the position that it now makes sense to expand their relationships, not just at a 3G level, but go into a 4G the roaming hub, and hopefully it'll be a positive for the consumers, which obviously allows our smaller carriers to compete with the two carriers that are probably in almost every one of their markets, AT&T and Verizon. Also added U.S. Cellular, the 5th largest carrier. We're actively pursuing a lot of the tier 2 carriers that may not be household names, like Carolina West and Bluegrass Cellular and Panhandle and GCI, Alaska. So that's the next step is to sort of mature this relationship in the 4G LTE world and move to 4G VoLTE and hopefully a pathway to 5G, so that our small carriers can provide state-of-the-art telecommunications services and connectivity as we move to a new generation of IP-based technology. Not only is it a big talking point, it's been a lot of work done at all levels to help the FCC make some, I think, very sound decisions on moving forward in this auction. One of the things that we've done is to make sure that there's the partial economic areas, the smaller geographic areas are part and parcel to the auction rules, which means that the smaller carriers, regional carriers, will have an opportunity to buy spectrum in their service territory. And so the challenges are, can you get access to the spectrum? And obviously we talked about the relationships, the data hub, and we also have a device hub we're creating. And so now, can you get access to the spectrum to deliver these new services? So this is an entire ecosystem that I think many of the smaller carriers have to get into if they're going to continue to be relevant in the years ahead. And so the challenge is, how do you get that spectrum? It's going to be I think it's going to be a very robust auction. And I think we've given, with the help of the FCC's rules, I think we've given the smaller carriers the opportunity to bid and actually win in their respective territories. One of the things that was very key was the FCC insisting on and pursuing a reserve. And the spectrum reserve will allow those carriers that are non-dominant in low band spectrum to bid on the reserve, 30 megahertz of spectrum nationwide. And I think that gives them a greater opportunity to bid and actually win a license. We hope that there's more than 84 megahertz cleared. I'd love to see 120 megahertz cleared. And as that goes up, the opportunities for more licenses to become available in the unreserved, is enhanced. So I think we have the tools in place so that we can see a successful auction, and the small carriers can get desperately needed spectrum as we move forward. They've got to continue to provide the newer services, and I think you need to, as a small carrier, you need to get in that ecosystem, the 4G, LTE, and then VoLTE ecosystem that's going to allow you to be more efficient. The 600 megahertz spectrum itself is somewhere between 7 and 13 times more efficient than the high band spectrum. That's because it takes less money to build out a network, more coverage with fewer sites in the low band spectrum. 4G LTE is also more efficient. It's more efficient in the technology arena. So you could get as many as 5 times greater efficiency through a LTE network than you can a 3G digital network. So, you're multiplying, your cost savings in 2 different ways. So I think you have to get into this low band spectrum capability, and you have to provide new services over the LTE network. If you can do that, I think you'll see that the small carriers who have historically been innovators could compete very well in the next realm of the IP world. So that's what we're hoping. That's what I think. I think that the local carriers that service areas that are difficult to serve, costly to build out, and are unique in many ways, the character of their coverage area. I think they have a role to play in providing high-speed mobile broadband to every consumer in the United States. Well, I will say the CCA annual convention is October 7th through October 9th in Fort Lauderdale. We have a great facility down there. We got the Fort Lauderdale Convention Center, wonderful rooms right on the ocean. So hopefully it'll be an opportunity to not only enjoy some business networking opportunities, but maybe even bring the family. So we're going to have a great lineup. Commissioner Clyburn, Commissioner O'Reilly will be there. We'll also have some of the Wireless Bureau and hopefully some of the, I think we have 1 or 2 of the Incentive Auction Task Force leaders there. And then we're going to have Marcella Claret will be a speaker. We're going to have a great women in wireless panel. We're going to have some of the top women in wireless talk a little about their challenges in the wireless world. And as you know, we have breakout sessions that are always designed by our carriers. And I think we're going to have some really neat, innovative revenue opportunities, as well as, literally case studies of how you better prepare your network for this 4G, 5G world. So please come down and join us. And I told some of your colleagues that we've got a golf tournament down there, one of the largest golf tournaments in the telecom world. It's actually a networking event, as you know, and but it gives everybody an opportunity to come and say hello and get to know everyone on more of a personal basis. So we hope that you guys will come and join that also.